there's some big news that involves some big names, one of which is Roger Goodell in the NFL, the other of which, Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The NFL has announced a partnership with Roc Nation and Jay-Z to boost their efforts around social injustice. Roc Nation will advise the selection of artists for NFL tentpole events like the Super Bowl, as well play a key role in the production and promotion of new music, and help them with some of their initiatives involving social injustice in the USA. Jalen, when I saw this, I said this is a great move by the NFL, and I also said this seems to me to be a direct reaction to some of the negative publicity that they've received around the handling of the Colin Kaepernick situation. What do you think about this move between the NFL and Roc Nation?
This is a standing ovation and a full embrace of the hip-hop culture. Remember when Jay-Z dropped the bars that he was overcharging people for what they did to the Cold Crush?
Yes.
This is an exclamation point for that, because he's become not only, a terrific MC with amazing bars, but I could not have imagined when I heard him going back and forth in a freestyle with Big L, and I listened to Reasonable Doubt, that he'd become the mogul that he is, to the point to now, I think he is the perfect person that can embody a relationship that clearly has been fractured with the NFL, and it's public. Mm-hmm. And why has that been the case? Not only the concussions and the opioids, but also the race relations. And it was heightened by Colin Kaepernick when he decided to take a knee.
It wasn't just Kaepernick. He becomes the figurehead of a movement amongst a lot of players.
Absolutely. And it was also getting the attention of the highest office in the nation. Mm-hmm. A lot higher than Roger Goodell's. So this is big news beyond just what happens on the field. And so for the NFL, it's a big leap forward in acknowledging that they need that olive branch. And I believe that he can now be a person in the room, and Robert Kraft was instrumental in this. And I know you talked a lot about the entertainment aspect of it, which is going to be terrific, because they were seeming to need a pulse as it related.
Maybe they'll have some Atlanta artists performing at an Atlanta Super Bowl, maybe?
Yes, and it just seems like they lost their identity as it related to a lot of their consumers, in particular their players, who just so happen to be 70 to 75% African American.
So here's a question, all right, you won the press conference, NFL. Mm-hmm. You got the press conference, you've got us celebrating you. You won the press conference. But now what? How do you win the game? What happens now? What exactly does this partnership actually mean? What actions will be taken? How will things change?
I'm glad you went there. And for those that are really paying attention and really just have some sort of knowledge of self, this is not an apology.
Nope.
Okay? And it's not an admission by the NFL.
No.
What this is they realize that, I guess, the shield has not been bulletproof. And people have been taking shots at it.
Well put.
And so while the NBA has found ways to dominate the landscape on and off the floor for a 12-month news cycle, it seems like the only time we're talking about the NFL in particular in the offseason, it related to one of those troubling things that I just described. And I left out domestic violences and assaults. And so this, again, when you put somebody really powerful like Roger Goodell and the NFL brand that touches and reaches just as much as, if not any brand in the history of our society, now you open up a window to access people that probably wouldn't be listening to different messages, especially from those that don't necessarily look and or sound like they do.
It just feels like they're like, all right, we partner with Roc Nation. They're going to pick who plays in the Super Bowl.
No,
it's bigger than that. How does it go bigger than that? What does it really mean?
It's bigger than that, because they're talking about instituting and supporting change. And change happens on the field, but in particular happens in your community, where so many people have an opportunity to be beacons for their thoughts, their beliefs, and we're dealing with some turbulent times in our country. And so for those conversations to continue to be had and have meaning behind them, there has to be multiple faces and diversity in the room. Mm-hmm. And that level of inclusion is something that gets us a lot closer towards the melting pot that we hope this United States of America can represent. And I think this is a big step for that brand, the NFL, in partnering with Roc Nation to getting us closer to what we hope is going to be a united front that we can be proud of, as I represent to the fullest Team Roc Nation represent.
I have faith that the people of Roc Nation know what they're doing in this instance, and I have faith that they will, actually activate some change in our society through this partnership with the NFL. And I just hope that this is not just a press release.
It can't be a press release when you enlist Jay-Z. That's where it goes in a different direction. The same person. And if you wanted to just look for seeds around sports, and I'm going to leave out some when you talk about a guy that's almost basically become an entertainment mogul.
Oh, he is.
That's basically pulling strings like a godfather, as he should have that level of autonomy. And so I just saw the Nets are going to complete a sale for $2.3 billion. They got moved from New Jersey. Who was instrumental in helping that move happen? And sat front row and was a part of the ownership.
Oh.
To ingratiate them into that Brooklyn community where he grew up.
Jigga Man.
And at the time, Kevin Durant was a Roc Nation athlete.
Might as well call him Kevin Durant.
And I'm not sure what that exact affiliation still is. You come full circle, who's the net star player on the roster this season?
Kevin Durant.
Kyrie Irving is also a Roc Nation athlete. Saquon Barkley. Todd Gurley. And so how about this for Jay? My brother Meek Mill was in jail not too long ago. Help get him out. And help him get off probation. Okay, so the movement is just bigger than the score of the game. And I appreciate the fact that, as some people may realize, that this level of power is going to continue to have an influence on a lot of people. And I'm glad that the NFL extended this olive branch.